What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dude Who Bets Sports, October 13th, 2022. Slim back in the house for some Thursday night football, and we got Team Halterman here who picked some hockey games, both very enjoyable, one for the cashing reason, the other for the excitement reason. Aaron, that Toronto-Montreal game was phenomenal. Jake Allen, again, rips your heart out. What did you think of that game? You excited about Toronto moving forward?
Nobody noticed. I was mimicking Slim. I was trying, but no, nobody got it. Listen, I think nice. I think that was a great game. I missed it. I didn't cash it. I knew I wasn't going to cash it. Didn't care. Great hockey game. Also didn't care because you had your parlay in the bank, and Papa Dude easily got Carolina. So it's like, hey, we got some winners. No big deal. It was a great game, and I don't know. Like Jake Allen played really well. So if he can keep that up, maybe the Canadians won't be absolutely awful. I didn't think Toronto played bad. I thought they dominated a lot of the play.
Yeah, we saw that Jake Allen story in St. Louis enough. We know how that book ends. Slim, welcome back to the show, man. A Thursday staple here for us. Your Slim Pickens did well last weekend. You're trying to build off that momentum. What's one trend that you took away from last weekend? One thing that you're looking for as you're looking for these player props?
These games are crazy, and these Thursday night games, these Monday night games, people getting pushed, photographers, people getting tackled, being sued. The NFL is real life. This is just the worlds are colliding about what's happened. I just want to watch football and not see all the drama. So that's what I'm getting from it. And I had a lot of drama last week on Thursday Night Football. I bet the over on Russell Wilson. I was unable to make the show, but I sent it in over the air. The over was 220 yards passing, right? Oh, no, so it was 230. 230 was the over, and he had 218 at the end of regulation. The game goes to overtime because Russell Wilson sucks so bad that he throws a horrible interception at end the game. He passed for like another 40 yards in overtime. I hit my prop. I felt the dirtiest I think I might have ever felt cashing a ticket because Russell Wilson sucked so bad is the only reason that the game went to overtime and he hit his own over. So it was mind-boggling to me, but these prop bets are fun. It gets you some entertainment. And, tonight, if you want any entertainment in this Redskins-Bears game, just bet a little bit just for the entertainment value. Do not bet your life on this horrible. I don't even know what the words are. I don't have adjectives for how horrible this game is going to be.
Well, it probably will be a better played football game than last Thursday night, which is not saying much because that Colts-Broncos game was an absolute shit show. One thing that I saw last weekend that I want to mention here, and Papa Dude, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. We had two teams play in London last week, right? We had the Vikings take on the Saints. Both came back this weekend. And the Vikings gave up 21 to the Bears, which was wild because the Bears offense is awful. And the Saints gave up, I think it was 32 points. Both of them had early leads and kind of fell apart in the second half. Do you think that lack of rest coming back is something that we're going to consistently see here where defenses get tired for these London teams in the second half of the next week's games?
Well, I know one thing. I don't know how the NFL determines who goes over there. I don't know whether it's the luck of the draw. I don't know whether it's a certain team's turn to go. It's a lot to ask of these teams to go do this and then have to play the very next Sunday. In the past, I think they've had a bye that next week, which makes perfect sense. I mean, that's a long trip over there. They get out of their routine, and college football, pro football is a routine. I mean, you do the same thing every week, and suddenly you got to get on an airplane, you got to go over there. You're in a different country. I think it just literally sucks for these players, and I don't know why they have to come back and play the very next week. I don't understand that. I don't quite get that.
Well, those two teams specifically, the coaches asked to not have a bye. They asked to come back and play, which I think is wild. Just because that plane, I've been fortunate enough to go to Europe, go to Japan. You feel wrecked for like 2 days when you're going either direction. It's tough to like bounce right back, especially to play a football game. We've got the Packers coming back off this loss to the Giants. That looks like trouble. They're laying 7.5 to your Jets, Slim. Now the Jets beat my Skylar Thompson-led Dolphins down pretty good last Sunday. Is 7.5 too much? We're going to see two New York teams cover, or dare I say, win outright against the Packers in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the Packers coming back and having some revenge on their minds against the other New York team. So yeah, I'm confused right now about how how good I feel about the Jets. I think they could win, though, because you know what? They got these great rookies that, as a Jets fan, there's not much to be excited about, but you got rookie Breece Hall, who can win the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and you got Sauce Gardner on the defensive end. The cornerback has been shutting them down. As I said, he shut down those two big-time wide receivers. I know they didn't have a quarterback, and it makes it a lot easier to shut down Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and Waddle was hurt. Actually, I think both actually got hurt during the game, so they got hurt. But
it was a great game for the Dolphins.
Yes, it wasn't good, but Sauce Gardner was shutting them down. So as a Jets fan, I'm excited. We'll see if the Packers can cover that. I would take the Jets getting the points.
I actually like the Jets plus the 7.5 as well. I think it's a little too much there. Aaron, the other team coming back is the New York Giants, and they get to face Lamar Jackson-led Baltimore Ravens. You know, Lamar and this Baltimore team, 12-0 against NFC teams straight up in Lamar's career right now. What do you think about Lamar specifically being able to come back and play that Giants defense? That can be trouble for New York?
Yes. I think they'll be 13-0. I don't think the Baltimore Ravens will have any problem with this. Listen, I said it yesterday. I like the Giants, but I think the Ravens are a lot better team. I don't know what's missing in Baltimore. I don't know why they underachieve. This is not a 3-2 team from a talent perspective, in my opinion. And if you watch their games, you're like, well, how are they 3-2? They, at times, this Ravens team can be absolutely dominant. I think they're more talented than the Giants. I think they catch them, quote unquote, at the right time. I think they should beat them no matter what. I think the Ravens are going to win this game. I don't. To me, when I look at the AFC, they should be right, maybe just a notch below the Bills and the Chiefs, and they're not. That's just reality, but they should be. That's their potential, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm going to take them to beat the Giants. I think that's a tough matchup for New York.
They're laying 5.5 right now. I actually like the team total over 24.5 there for Baltimore. I don't see how the Giants are going to be able to slow them down, especially coming back from overseas over the weekend. All right, we got a busy day here on the Racing Dudes channel. We're not going to jump into horse racing very much because that is going to be all about horse racing later in the day here. Aaron and I are going to be back. I'm going to be the special guest on Blinkers Off. That'll be at 3:30 today, and we're going to go over every single Breeders' Cup race, at least the ones that have future odds posted, talk about who we like in the way too early Breeders' Cup picks here. So join us for 3:30 Eastern for that. The Magic Mike Show will be back at 5 o'clock covering the late pick 4 or 5, I think 5 probably maybe, from Keeneland on Saturday. So I'll confirm that with Magic, but we'll be back at 5. Pop Dude and Aaron, you got Dudes Who Bet Sports later today as well, don't you?
2 o'clock Eastern time, 1 o'clock Central. Dudes Who Bet Sports will go all these games in depth for you guys.
And then Slim, tell them about the Slim and Silent Betapalooza.
Betapalooza has been on fire, and we're back tonight for the big game. The Bears versus the Commanders. I almost said the other name that they used to have. Sorry. So the Bears versus the Commanders. We'll be there at halftime to give you some energy to boost you up for the second half. We're going to have some best bets for the weekend, some parlays maybe I'll throw in there. And Samo is now 4-1. He was 4-0, but he bet against my Jets. So he was 4-0. So he has to get back on track with his best bet of the week on the line. So see you at halftime tonight.
Halftime tonight. Bears Commanders. Join us right back here on the YouTube channel, or join us on Twitter live there. We'll have it up there as well. 4-1 in the second half bets, 4-1 in the best bets. Not bad to start out the year at 8-2 on those bets. All right, let's jump into our best bets. We haven't talked too much about tonight's football game because someone on here is taking the wrong side of it, but we'll get to that in a second. We're going to kick it off here with Aaron heading back to the pucks. This was an interesting one, actually. I was surprised you're getting plus money on the Avs tonight.
That's why I'm taking it. You get plus money on the best team in hockey, you got to take it. They are a much more explosive team than the Calgary Flames. Calgary wins games by locking teams down, winning low-scoring games. Calgary's also lost some really important players off of this team from last year that was very good. Yeah, it's back-to-back for the Avs, sure. They took off the third period. They were so far ahead last night. They rested guys. They'll be ready for this game in Calgary tonight. Look, opening day games, in stadiums in Canada. Look, I learned it last night. Montreal played a great game. Jake Allen played great. He beat me. Okay, so be it. The Colorado Avalanche are one of the best teams I've seen in the last 10 years. I'm following the NHL. I'm all over them tonight. Anytime they're going to be plus money this year, I'm taking them. Colorado plus the 110. Not worried about it. They're going to beat Calgary tonight.
You may get them plus money 10 times all year. That may be high. They are that good. It was wild. You guys were locked in on that baseball game last night, and I'm texting you, telling you I can't take my eyes off this Avs team because they are that fun to watch and that dominant. They were laying a goal and a half going into up 4-1. The third period line was Avs minus a goal and a half. That's how crazy good they are. That's just essentially projecting a 5-goal win in the NHL is wild. So was really surprised to see that. This is going to be interesting. Calgary, you mentioned, lost Gaudreau, lost Tkachuk. They got Huberdeau added, but they don't seem like they're going to be as good as last year. And I get the back-to-back. And you know, Kevin's mentioning this. It was an emotional night last night. Colorado, you need to raise the banner, all that jazz. But, I mean, take the plus money, right?
Exactly. Listen, if I'm sitting here going, okay, Avalanche will probably be about minus 150 for this game. I see plus 110. I mean, lose it. If I lose it, fine. I don't care. It's a no-brainer. I'm going to take plus money on the best hockey team I've seen in 10 years going up against a team that I don't think is going to be as good. So,
Papa, dude, you hit your hockey game last night. You're going to the NFL here. Did any hockey games jump out at you? Because I know that you're also we got 3 hockey fans here. So did any hockey games jump out at you?
Yeah, there were several tonight. I like. I think Kevin mentioned a while ago the Devils. I forget who they're playing. They're playing the Flyers. No, the Flyers are playing.
Yeah,
I don't know they were playing, but I like the Devils tonight in that game. I think the best bet is you take Vegas minus 1.5, but the odds aren't good enough. That would be the one I would take over the Blackhawks. They should win that game easy. The Blackhawks coming off a tough game in Colorado last night. Got to go to Vegas, and Vegas is pretty good, especially at home. I think that's probably the best bet. But there's several you can cash on tonight. I'm a little worried about Aaron's bet, but anyway, just because his luck has been so bad lately. So I know the logic and it makes perfect sense, but I'm a little worried about the Avs coming off that game last night and having to go all the way to Calgary. That worries me a little bit. Hopefully we get it.
I'm probably going to sprinkle something on Minnesota minus a goal and a half plus 180 against the Rangers. I think that's just Minnesota's home opener. I think they're going to be very good this year. Kirill Kasparov, another year in that system, and they have a ton of good young players. So I like Minnesota at home tonight. Maybe you can get minus 145 or you go puck line plus 180. I'm probably going to sprinkle a little plus 180 in. Aaron, you look like you want to say something about that.
Yeah, the Minnesota Wild. I think it's a good bet. I thought about that one. I think they're a poor man's Colorado. When you look at their skill players up front and you look at their forwards, they are dynamic and they are tough to stop. I agree. I think that's a good one. I think the Wild are going to be really, really good this year. They got to get some goaltending. That's the big key to their season.
I'm going to go back to the parlay bank, and the Wild almost made this parlay. That's one of the reasons I wanted to mention them there. But I'm going to go to Baylor's money line. They're playing in West Virginia tonight. We picked Baylor the last 2 weeks. They've come through for us once, failed for us once. I think Baylor is just better on both sides of the football than West Virginia is. My main concern is the fact that we are at West Virginia on a Thursday night. That to me is the biggest issue here. But Baylor is one of those teams that kind of slows it down, grinds it out, kind of takes it out of the home crowd. I'm hoping Baylor can get up early and just run away from them. I went with the money line versus the -3 because I could see them winning a field goal game or a closer game here. But I like Baylor, who I think is just a more talented team than West Virginia. And then give me the Astros money line. I just don't know how the Mariners are going to be able to bounce back after a walk-off home run. You guys know this is a wild fact. In the MLB playoffs history, how many times has there been a walk-off home run by the home team when they were down by more than one run? That was the first time in history. First time in history, there's been a multiple run home run walk-off, so down by 2 or more. So it's the first time a 3-run or a grand slam won a playoff game, which is crazy to think considering how many games that there have been.
Yeah.
But you got the better team. You have the better pitcher. You have an emotionally beat-up team on one side. You have another team that's rolling at home on the other. So I'm going to take the Astros. I'll take Baylor money line, put them together, you get plus 164, see if we can get 2 of these parlays home back-to-back. Papa, dude, what do you think of the Baylor game?
Well, I was really on Baylor until Oklahoma State dismantled them a couple of weeks ago. But they've had an off date, and West Virginia did too. They're better. Absolutely. If they play their game, they will win this one. So I like your bet. I really like the Astros. I don't see any way the Mariners bounce back tonight. I just don't see any way.
Yeah, you could put the Astros minus 160 with Minnesota minus 145, the Wild, and that would get you about plus 180 here as well. So that was the other parlay that I was looking at, and this is the route I ended up taking, but I do like that other version of it as well.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump into the football game. We've got the Bears versus the Commanders tonight. Actually, the Commanders at the Bears tonight. Right now, the pick'em line, it is starting to fade -1 toward Washington. Total right now sitting at 38. So we've got one of the lowest totals. Actually, I think the second lowest total in Thursday Night Football history. The Titans were involved in the other one, and it went over. That was 37.5. They ended up scoring 39. Slim, we're going to start with you here. You got a best bet, and you are leaning towards some points being put up in this game.
Not points as much as I like Carson Wentz over 220.5 passing yards. And basically, I looked at this game. This is not a game to be trying to bet a lot. Our main Wise Dan, though, shout out to Wise Dan, texted me a 5-part parlay and a 6-part parlay for a game like this. So, and he feels very confident in those. But I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm making a very light bet. I usually try to fade what Wise Dan tells me, and it's been pretty good for my career, but I don't know if you guys have ever met Wise Dan. I see Aaron dying laughing. He's a great guy, so we love you, Dan. But I'm only just going to play this one Carson Wentz. Tread lightly here, but hey, Chicago does have a bad defense. They have the last ranked pass rush in the league and are ranked the 4th worst overall defense by Pro Football Focus. So, hey, I know Wentz. He has passed for 313, 337, and 359, way over these totals against the 3 bad teams he's faced, Jacksonville, Detroit, and Tennessee, respectively. Against Philly and Dallas, who I think are 2 of the better defenses in the league, he only passed for 211 and 170, so I think that's why this number is lower. But these defenses, the defenses that he has gone against when he has passed for over 300 yards are similar to this Bears defense. They're not good. So I'm looking for them to be bad tonight and for Wentz to hook up with some of his weapons.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with the pass rush. Philadelphia and Dallas, top 3 pass rushes in the NFL, 2 of the top 3 in the NFL. He's facing the worst pass rush, one of the worst pass rushes in the NFL tonight. I think that makes a big difference there. So you're going over 220 passing yards for the Commanders. I kind of like the Commanders team total over, which you can get it. I think it's 17.5 right now. That seems really low to me against this Bears defense. I think they have the ability to put up 21. Papa Dude, your turn to make a case for why the Bears are going to win at home here. Plus 100 on the Bears money line.
You know, I guess compared to all you guys, I am a lazy bettor. Okay. And I just look at shit and I said, I would pick the Bears to win if they were +2 or -2. And it's even. So I said, shit, this is easy for me today. Very easy. I don't have to look at anything else. I've said this a million times on this show. I bet something that pops out at me, and it did. I think the Bears are going to win. I think they're going to win. I think they're better than Washington. They've showed life. Washington hasn't showed anything. I think Slim's right, too. I think Wentz will get this yardage, but I think the Bears will win. I like the way the Bears played last week at the Vikings. They could have won that game. That worries me a little bit. Will they bounce back from that? I don't know. They've lost to the Packers, the Giants, and the Vikings. Last time I checked, those are 3 pretty good teams. Washington, Detroit beat them. Okay, that's enough for me right there. That's enough for me. So I'm going to pick them. I'm confident. If I miss it, I don't give a shit because I'd pick it again tomorrow. I would. So I like the Bears tonight. They may lose, but if they were -2, I'd pick them. Maybe if they were -3. They're at home. It's Thursday night. Washington has to travel. I don't see any way I wouldn't pick them. So I'm going with the Bears.
Washington Commanders are kind of like a falling knife right now as well. You don't really know if this is the bottom or if next week's going to be the bottom or in a couple weeks because they keep getting bet every week and they keep getting stomped every week. And so you have to keep downgrading them and downgrading them and downgrading them. And you just don't know when they get right. Tonight, if they don't get right, I mean, they're if they lose to the Bears, they're either the worst or second worst team in the NFL. I mean, and they very easily could be. That's the crazy part because, look, Carson Wentz is terrible. Skill positions aren't great. There is no pass rush. So it's going to be an interesting game tonight. I kind of like the over, and I hate even saying it. Aaron, did you consider?
Uh-oh.
He's gone.
Oh, no.
He's back.
All right. Nope. And we lost Slim.
Now you lost Slim.
He's gone.
Oh,
That was
no.
wild. All right, Aaron, did
That
you
was
consider
him.
playing anything tonight for tonight's game?
No.
All right.
No, I don't care.
I tell you
Listen.
what, Slim, I'm setting my alarm for the whatever your show is. I can't say it because I'll be asleep by the time your show comes on. So I'm going to have to set an alarm to wake me up so I can listen to it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people were falling asleep last week. Samo was one of them when we had the Broncos team, which was horrible. And, you know, we got a couple of people out here like Wentz 3-0 versus the Bears in his career. I'm not sure of these stats, but Kevin B also says Wentz wagon is 6-0 on Thursday night
here we go.
football. Easy lock tonight. So there's a few things going against the Papa dude bet for the Bears
Law of average.
line, but I don't really know who's going to win this game. I mean, Chicago has a home field advantage, so that definitely helps them in this game with two crappy teams. So I'm just hoping Wentz goes over his yards, and that's about it because I don't know. I mean, some of these games are just horrible. The play calling, and I mean, I opened up my article on the dude's website last week with the Tom Brady Twitter post of him saying that there's a lot of bad football in the NFL. And that's what I feel the same way. And him saying that has confirmed everything that I've said on the dude's YouTubes over the last month or so.
All right, let's look at a couple comments real quick before we sign off here. I thought these are both kind of interesting. First off, the Dan Snyder dirty secret story that broke this morning. Basically, he said that he has dirty laundry on close to half of the NFL owners, and if they try and take his team, he is going to air that out. It's interesting because Dan Snyder is also the one who was asked to edit ESPN stories when there were some of those who were broken. So we know that he has a contact inside ESPN and could leak this kind of stuff. Aaron, did you see this story this morning? Because it is wild.
I haven't read through it. I've read through the highlights of it. I don't doubt that he has dirt on a lot of NFL owners. Let's put it that way. And I think it's going to get bad. That's my opinion on this, because I feel like Dan Snyder is the type that he just doesn't care, right? Like, if you're going to take my team away, I'll just destroy all of you that I can. So this could get bad. This could get bad.
Definitely has the burn it down philosophy, right? Where
Yes.
if I can't play with my toy, no one gets their toys either. Papa dude, they already have an investigation going on in Washington. Do you think, and this is interesting, do you think there's going to be more flags on Washington because of this, or do you think this is not going to be a non-story on the referee side?
I don't know, because I don't think he's very well liked at all. He is a flake, and that's why the NFL would like to get rid of him or whatever they're doing. But you know what? A lot of these owners are just as dirty as he is. And I'm sure he's probably got some stuff on him. And this could get very, very interesting. This might be the highlight of the season so far.
I would read the book. We'll just put it that way. If there's a tell-all that comes out, I'm reading that book because I think it'd be very, very fascinating. Because he mentioned, like, one of the things that he said to someone who then leaked this to someone else was that every owner, it's like the mafia, and they all hate each other, which I totally believe. Don't you, Slim?
I love that line. The NFL is the mafia. That was my favorite line that I saw on some of the tweets that came out today about this. So I need to read more into it, but just hearing the NFL is the mafia, I'm sure it is. It is very much the families that have been around for centuries. Well, yeah, centuries. I mean, there's teams that started in the 1920s. You know, the Browns have been around since the 50s, the same ownership group. The Modells, and there's a lot of things that have been brewing over many, many decades in the NFL for sure.
And you got old Jerry down there in Dallas. He's clean, I'm sure, don't you think?
I mean, you got the Patriots owner who got in trouble with certain clubs down in Florida. We'll put it that way. You've got Jerry Jones. You've got like the Rooneys. Like, there's a bunch of different
Rooneys too.
groups. So you're like
The Hunts.
The Hunts, yeah, like it's just there's a lot of questions that could fly out there. So I think that'd be awfully interesting. Yeah, it was Schefter who was allowing Dan Snyder to edit his stories. You know, that Adam Schefter who just breaks all of the major news for ESPN across the football. Before we go, Pedlo brings this up. Vegas lost last weekend. I thought this was one of the toughest weekends to bet. I don't actually have a best bet yet for our show this afternoon. I'm still diving into it, Slim. Aaron, you've looked at the lines. Doesn't this week look really tough in the NFL?
If Vegas loses one week, they're going to win the next week. So, yes, the NFL, I think the NFL this year is about as hard as it gets because what you're seeing, you've got 3 or 4 teams that are good. You got a whole bunch that are mediocre, and then you've got a few that are just awful. And so every week the matchups are like, the Bills are playing the Chiefs, so you don't have a clear standout there. And then all your other mediocre teams are playing each other. So, yeah, it looks like a disaster waiting to happen this weekend for sure. I thought the college slate was a little bit easier this week.
Yes.
And that's saying something because the college slate is usually pretty tough.
You combine that with the lack of positive decision-making from a coaching perspective and the lack of good quarterback play, Papa Dude, and it makes it even more difficult to predict these games.
Oh, NFL's impossible. I haven't really dove into the NFL yet. I've been working on college for the show, and I'm going to do the NFL as soon as I get done. I think the college, there's some weird ones on there. Don't you think, Aaron? There's some strange lines on the college.
Well, I think with the college, you're either going to be right or you're going to be wrong, but you're going to have a strong opinion.
Yeah.
Or an opinion. It's like, well, I'm not going to go that way because that looks obvious type of thing. In the NFL, every game I've looked at was like, yeah, that could go either way. Yeah, that line's about right.
Well, that's the way it is when you have parity like we do. I mean, anybody can beat anybody in the NFL. That's been that way for a long time, but especially this year, it's really tough to figure them out.
For me, this is the first week of the buys, and we have the Lions and the Texans on bye, and these are two of the worst defenses that I've been trying to prey on throughout with my player props. So now I'm reaching for some defenses that might not be as crappy as these two, but I've done pretty well betting against those defenses. So it gets tougher with the buys. There's less options on the menu.
Yeah, the buys will definitely shorten it up, make it a little more difficult. We will be back on Sunday with all of our best bets across the NFL slate. We'll be back tomorrow at noon for best bets for Friday. Thank you very much for joining for the show today. Real quick, let's recap the best bets here. Papa Dude taking the Bears plus 100. Aaron taking the Avalanche plus 110. Slim going with Carson Wentz over 220.5 passing yards in tonight's Thursday night game. I'm going to go to the Major League Baseball slate, take the Astros money line and parlay that with a college football game. The Baylor money line, get plus 164 for that combo. 2-1 yesterday, plus $223 for year to date. We're up $1,527 off a $100 base bet. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Best of luck with all of your bets around the sports world and the racetrack. We will see you tomorrow at noon. Actually, we'll see you at 2 o'clock for Dudes Who Bet Sports, 3:30 for Blinkers Off, 5 o'clock for the Magic Mike Show, and 9:40 for Slim and Samo's Halftime Betapalooza. Just stay on this channel all day, and you'll get all the bets that you could ever want.